Hey everybody, welcome to the Espresso Outlet YouTube channel. My name's Barrett. Today I have a new grinder in front of us. Now, to a lot of people it probably doesn't look that new, and they're somewhat right. So, back in 2020 we came out with the DF64 version 1. And it took the world by storm because there was really no 64mm grinder out there at that price point that was low retention. I mean, go down the list. It had just so many pros to it. Since then we've come out with several different variants of it, but the variants have been just very small upgrades. So a little bit different hopper, a little bit different declumper. So today I want to introduce to you the DF64 Gen 2. This is a completely different and new generation of DF64. And I wanted to take you just a quick highlight on some of the design changes that they decided to put into this grinder and just see if it's a fit for you. So let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so let's just take a quick look from top to bottom, just looking at some of the things that they decided to change on the Gen 2 model. So to start with, we still do have a bellows, but you'll see that it actually rests on top, and that's because we have this new little adapter plate. The top side of the plate is a funnel shape, so it'll feed the beans just really easy into the grinder. They're not going to hang up anywhere. But what's going to be really nice to a lot of people is it has this built-in anti-popcorn disc on the bottom. So you could go buy an aftermarket one for the Gen 1 DF64, and they do work great, but now this comes as a standard option on the Gen 2. Next, one of the things that really stood out to me when I pulled this out of the box, or even just saw it in some pictures before I received it, is this adjustment collar looks quite a bit different. But really, it's just looks. It's not so much function. So functionality-wise, it works identical to the Gen 1 model, but it does look much more premium. When you do adjust it, it's going to stay in place. It's not going to walk around on you. There's a nice amount of resistance. So one thing that you can't see that's underneath this is just like the DF83, it actually has a wave spring for that upper and lower burr. So the Gen 1 version, it used 3 small coil springs. This new Gen 2 version operates very similar to the DF83. I think that's going to be just a very welcome addition to a lot of people that you won't really notice, but it is a nice upgrade. Going down the grinder, just talking fit and finish since we're talking this, the new grinders, just like the DF83, they are now being painted. So on the Gen 1, they were a vinyl wrap. The vinyl was very premium looking, but now just to follow suit with the DF83 design, the new version is painted. And let me tell you, with this new adjustment collar and the black paint, this thing looks just very premium and spectacular. I have this Alex Duetto next to it, and they just complement each other just very well. Going down the grinder, we have a power button at the bottom. If you remember on the Gen 1, it was in the front, and a few people commented that it was awkward. You get used to it, but it was definitely awkward. So on the Gen 2, they decided to put it off to the side. Nice little clicky button. Different style than previous DF grinders, but it works just very well. It looks great, easy to use, and it's in a very nice location, I think. Now let's talk about the Chute. So the Chute, it looks identical to the other DF64, but what's different about it you can't really see, and this is where it's following the DF83 design. It has a plasma generator built into the Chute. If you're not familiar with what a plasma generator does, there's 2 small probes inside this Chute, and there's a little box, and it'll create a very small amount of plasma, and that plasma will prevent the static buildup inside the Chute. So if you live in a really dry climate and you get a lot of chaff and static stuck to your grinder, it's not going to completely rid it of that, but it's going to help it be dramatically reduced. So I think that's going to be an awesome upgrade. People have really loved it on the DF83. I think you're going to love it on this DF64 Gen 2. Okay, going down to the dosing cup. I believe this is what we're selling with the version 5 DF64. It's been a nice little duo. You have an aluminum dosing cup, and it fits on top of a 58mm portafilter, no problem. And they've also started including this little extension ring, and you can run it a couple different ways. You can run it as an extension that also fits on top of your portafilter. But really where it shines is you put it in your grinder and it snugs it up to the top of your Chute. So with your anti-static and this extension, we're really trying to alleviate as much mess as we possibly can. Now there is one more way that you can use this, and that is to take this collar and put it directly onto your portafilter and then push the portafilter into the forks. So straight out of the box, gives you just quite a bit of versatility. It all comes with a grinder. I think it's a really nice upgrade. A lot of people, they were buying aftermarket accessories with the grinder. I'm not gonna say that that's a bad thing, but out of the box, you're pretty much ready to go if you wanted to. You can always pick and choose what you want later, but you're pretty much set up directly out of the box. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I want you to hit subscribe real quick because we're gonna do more in-depth videos on this grinder as we have time. We haven't really shown the wave spring. We haven't shown the plasma generator and how it works. We'll do some side-by-sides with the version, I guess I have a version 1 Gen 1 and a version 4 Gen 1, and then we'll compare it to this one as well. I didn't mention this has same burrs that the DF64 V5 has. They've been a very nice burr. They're no longer the Italmill burrs. They're not quite as good as like an SSPHE, but I mean, these are stock burrs. These are really spectacular burrs for what you get just straight out of the box. So we're gonna go into in-depth videos and just see what questions everyone has on this. So if you got any questions, drop them below. We'll try to cover them in a video, and it might be multiple questions in the same video, but we'll probably do a series of videos too. So thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe if you haven't already done so. We just wanted to introduce this DF64 Gen 2 to you today. Thanks again.